I'm Jameson Jr, JJ.
And I'm Dad, Jameson Sr., and we've written a book, Rescue at the Reef, and this is the Tom Rowland podcast.
Jameson and Jameson, JJ, how are you guys?
We're doing good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great. As my dad would say, if I was any better, I'd be twins. That's his little joke that he tells all the time.
I love that. Dad jokes are good.
Yeah. Well, he's got a lot of them. So I am really interested in your story. You know, it originates at Looe Key. I'm very familiar with Looe Key. I used to live on West Indies Drive on Ramrod Key. So That was the closest kind of snorkeling destination out there. And I'm kind of interested in what's your tie to the Florida Keys and to that particular area? How did you guys start going down there?
Yeah, man,
we're from Florida.
There you go. Yeah, born and raised. My wife and I. Jameson was born there. Two of our other kids, so three of our kids, we have five, were born there, and then we moved up to Charlotte, North Carolina, just about 7 years ago. But we go back to South Florida. We have family and a lot of friends still down there. And anytime we're down there, man, it's awfully hard. As you know, the Keys disease grabs hold and you got to just get down somewhere south of the mainland. And we particularly love the lower Keys. And we have some dear friends who have a beautiful home right there on Sugarloaf.
Okay.
And so we get to go to Sugarloaf as much as we can.
That's awesome. And so, JJ, when did you start getting in the water and snorkeling? How old were you?
As
you were, you maybe
my
you
whole
maybe
life.
Swam,
my
you were
whole
swimming
life
before you were walking.
Yeah, my whole life, really. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure, man.
And so, what you were very comfortable in the water. Obviously, if you start snorkeling like my kids did, they start snorkeling really young, and it's just part of life. Like that's just what you do. That's what you love to do. Do you like to do other water things? You like to fish or
surfing?
Surfing. That's your other thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very cool. And so,
and I love also kind of not following sharks, but interested into sharks, really. So if I see a shark, I would kind of snorkel around. I just like interacting with any kind of fish in the ocean.
All the marine ecosystem.
What do you call that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get into your story, but I watched the GoPro footage, and you had seen turtles. You were kind of going after a turtle a little bit to kind of get a shot of them on the GoPro. That was pretty cool. But I wanted to read the book before we did the podcast, and I didn't get a chance to read it. So I'm just going to ask you, could you guys just kind of tell your story of this particular day and what we're here for, to hear this incredible story?
Yes, sir. We, as mentioned, we were in the lower Florida Keys. It was August 2022, and we just gotten down there in the first few days, wind and everything was picking up. And the wind laid down on a Saturday, August 13th. And it was just a beautiful, perfect day to be out on the water. And we usually love, even if it's, a little windy, we'll go back to Marvin Key in the backcountry. I'm sure, Tom, right where that is. That's one of our favorites. And all of our kids, when they were little guys, that was just such a low tide, perfect, safe place to bring them. And our youngest at the time was 3. And I said, honey, it looks like it's going to be a perfect day to go out to Looe Key. And little Nehemiah, who's learning still kind of how to swim, I think it'll be perfect. We can all get in. And so that's what we did. We packed up some lunch and fueled up the boat and cruised out from Sugarloaf out to Looe Key. It took us about 40 minutes. As you know, it's about 9 miles offshore. And even though it's out there, there's people everywhere. It's one of the most dove reefs in the state. And for good reason, good cause. It's just beautiful. And, kind of describe it as the last weekend before school started. It's almost like going to your favorite mall on Black Friday, and you just kind of loop around the reef waiting for a parking spot to open up, one of those mooring balls to become available. And we found one on the inside of the reef. and where it's just, the most shallow out there, 8 feet deep, and had a little safety talk and, talked all about all the cool stuff we're going to see. We homeschool the kids, and we'd even been watching videos before we went out that morning about just all the great stuff we're going to see and do. And so we dove in, and we're just having an amazing time. I mean, crystal clear day. Viz was, well over 50 feet. I don't even know exactly what it was, but so we can see, but once you get kind of out there a little bit in terms of visibility, everything's kind of starting to be shadowy, and so we actively were looking for sharks, as Jameson said a minute ago. In fact, I saw my first shark at that same reef when I was his age, so been going out there, my whole life. And anyway, hundreds of species of beautiful, marine life, and no sharks. And so then this turtle starts swimming up to him. Starts seeing a few turtles, and one starts kind of swimming up to him. And he's got the GoPro, we're filming, and I'm just like, yes, this is incredible watching him. I'm like, just hope that thing's recording, because he's getting epic footage right now. And sure enough, man, he and this turtle had this like spiritual bond. It was crazy, Tom. It was like, I had always wanted to do that, but turtles spook off. You get too close and they don't want you there. And this turtle was so cool with him. He was 10. He's, every bit of 70 pounds dripping wet. So he's a little guy. So that turtle probably felt a little more comfortable with his size. So I just kind of said, hey, let me keep my 3-year-old back. I don't want him kind of splashing on the top of the surface, potentially spooking that thing off, my turtle off. And so he's in my 3-year-old's in a full flotation PFD, on the top. And we all had those pool noodles as we're snorkeling. We just kind of land the pool noodle, look down, see something cool, let go of the pool noodle, cruise down, check it out, pop up, grab the noodle, keep cruising around. So we're all in pool noodles, snorkeling. Little guy, Nehemiah's on the surface. And so I'm like, hey, look, there's a really beautiful queen conch, again, only 8 feet deep. Most pools are that deeper. So I dove down to kind of highlight it to little Nehemiah, while Jameson is filming the turtle, just to keep Nehemiah occupied. And as I surface, Tom, that's when I hear the screaming. And we have no idea that he's just been attacked by a 8 to 10 foot, just call it a 9-foot bull shark. Because we've been looking, we know they're apex ambush predators. So, we're looking behind us, doing our full 360. Man, she came out of nowhere. We did not see her. So he's screaming for help. And my little guy and I are just off the back of the boat. And so I'm like, let me just close, as a, fast swimmer, let me just close this small gap between me and JJ, because he's right there. And I'm like, well, if I let go of Nehemiah, he's just going to drift off to the Bahamas. So grab him, get him on the back of the boat. We're on the boat, release the bow line, crank the engine. And within seconds, we're to him. And he's sitting up on his pool noodle. We still don't see shark. We don't see his leg is essentially gone from below the knee, because all that's below the water line. And I'm now starting to kind of get pushed into the real shallow part of the reef. So I said to my wife, Mary, honey, jump in, grab him, bring her to the back to the dive platform, let me get him in. So I'm kind of holding the boat in place. She grabs him, brings him to the back. I pull him in, and we see for the first time from below his knee, man. It's just tibia bone, the main bone. The fibula is gone. I mean, there's nothing except for bone, and then the foot attached at the bottom. And there's just shark teeth marks all over that. And I knew, all over that bone, I knew, man, immediately he had just been viciously attacked by a significant, massive, shark.
Wow. JJ, what do you remember about that day?
Really, the only thing going through my mind at that time was, what is attacking me? And after once I thought that the shark jerked my head back, and then I saw what it was. I jerked my head back into place, and I started screaming. And that's all that was on my mind at that point.
And do you remember what that felt like? Like sometimes people, when they're attacked by something, they'll say it felt like a vice, or it felt like a hot burning, or it felt like, I felt everything.
I felt everything.
felt it
I felt
all?
everything. Mm-hmm.
And was there like intense pressure on the leg? Or was it more like a burning?
It was more burning, just nothing that I've ever felt before. I felt all the shark teeth go into my leg, and I just listened to the audio on the GoPro, and I did not realize how much I was in pain. And so that kind of just reminded me of that really hurt. I was not in shock at all. I felt everything.
Wow.
Initially, yeah, you weren't in shock initially.
Wow. And so it would be easy to drift into the reef. So you've managed to get the boat in a place where you're not going to beach it, right? Or get too shallow. And so now he's on the boat.
Yeah.
And what's going on at that point? I mean, obviously you got to be thinking about, where's the nearest place? Are you thinking Key West? Are you thinking Marathon? Like those are your two options right now. You got two hospitals. Like what are you thinking as kind of the captain here of your family?
Right.
What's going through your mind? Like, how do you deal with this situation at that point?
Well, none of the Keys hospitals could handle with what happened to me, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. As you know, Tom, there's no, what they call a, blanking out now, but a level 1 trauma center in the Keys. The closest is Miami. So I actually wasn't even thinking Key West, Marathon in terms of hospitals. So I'm holding him in my arms after I get him out of the water, assessing the damage, and I just scream, no, man. It's just complete denial and horror of the reality. He's actively bleeding to death, and he's probably about to breathe his last breath in my arms, and my oldest son in front of my wife, his mom, our other 3 kids, his siblings. He's about to die. And I don't feel like there's anything, honestly, that we could do. So I'm in shock. Okay. And I scream no in horror. And the first words out of my son's mouth to comfort me and to call in the name of the Lord, Daddy, it's okay. Jesus is going to save me. 10 years old, first words out of his mouth. Wow. He just believes, like, Dad, it's okay. God's got this, man. And Tom, it was like the hope of heaven broke through in that moment. I laid him on the back of the boat, went to the captain's chair. I just knew I had to get around or over the reef. And that's an interesting story because that's a miracle. But at this point, I'm calling out to my wife, tourniquet, CPR. And so she ties a rash guard above his knee. He's lost so much blood, man. He's as white as a sheet. And she goes, he's breathing. And so, no CPR is needed. So I'm looking at the reef and not even looking at my depth finder, just realizing it is so shallow, but yet this reef is long. So to go around to get to the other boats, there were 2 other mooring balls next to us, and both boats had left probably within 30 minutes of the shark attack. So we were the only boat at that point on the inside part of the reef that afternoon. So all the other traffic was on the outer part of the reef. So I'm like, how am I going to get to help? Because that's where help is, instead of running the 9 miles in, is what I thought. And so instead of going around, because I'd already looped around multiple times and knew how long that took, I said, man, I got to just visually look for a little channel through the reef, and just went over the top of the reef. Mm-hmm. So unexpectedly, I didn't do that for this reason, but everybody on the reef that day now all of a sudden is looking at me, looking at us going, oh my goodness, this guy's about to sink his boat. What's going on over there? So multiple people began to call 911 without even knowing, which was, hindsight, just another unbelievable miracle. Sure enough, we get through and over the reef, not a scratch on the bottom of the boat as we eventually would lift it and look at it. So we get through and over the reef, and we get to the closest boat to us, which happens to be like a 38-foot Invincible with triple 350s on the back compared to our 300 horsepower on our Scout. And I'm telling you, man, it was like the Lord just led us to the fastest boat on the reef that day, which just ended up being the closest boat to us. So as we approach and we get rail to rail, we're screaming help, small child, shark attack, emergency, 911, all the keywords. They call, the family on that boat calls 911. They're on the phone with dispatch. We're rail to rail. We're talking. Here's our coordinates. Here's where we are. I think it's channel marker 24 or something, red triangle 24, whatever it is. We're right next, we're right close to that. And they're going back and forth with Coast Guard going, hey, we're going to try to dispatch Coast Guard. And I'm sitting here looking at this guy I don't even know, who's we now know very well. His name's Todd Grooms. Todd, the captain of this boat. We can't sit here and wait, and you've got the faster boat. And so we asked dispatch, where will there be an ambulance in case we can get to shore? And they said, Dolphin Marina. And since, as you know, it's a private marina. It's not a public marina. I didn't know that Dolphin Marina was the marina for Little Palm. And so I was unfamiliar initially with Dolphin Marina. I said, Todd, do you know where that is? He goes, I know right where it is. And as we're having this conversation, somebody stumbles onto our boat. And I look down and I go, who are you? It's a female. And she goes, I'm a nurse and I'm here to help.
She swam over?
She swam over from another boat because, of course, several boats, have, are nearby on those other mooring balls. And they heard us screaming. And what person hears shark attack and jumps in the water? Right? Brave lady. She's a nurse, swims over with a dry bag of a couple, some medical material. And again, nobody could do anything, man, in terms of medical. In fact, no hospital in the Lower Keys could do anything. We had to get airlifted to Miami to Nicholas Children's Hospital because of the intense damage. But it was just like God was saying, look, I've got a faster boat. I've got a nurse. I'm around you. I've got you. And so I say to the stranger, now know his name to be Todd. Todd, you know where the ambulance is going to be. We can't sit here and wait. You've got the faster boat. You've got to run him in and save his life. So I transferred Jameson, my wife, Mary, and this nurse, Jennifer. And in this moment, I'm thinking, this is my last moment to see my son. And so I lean in to kiss him on the forehead as I'm holding him in my arms to hand him to a stranger. And I just sensed the Lord say deep in my spirit, not audibly, but just this confirmation, these words, I will hold him until you get here. Now, I knew that meant two things. Eternally, I knew Jameson's soul was secured. 6 years old, by the grace of God, we had prayed with him to receive Jesus as his Savior and Lord. And so I knew that if he was going to die that day, he'd be with the Lord, and the Lord would hold him in heaven until his earthly father could get there. But I also hoped it meant, as I let go of him, our Heavenly Father, God Almighty, the one who performed all the miracles that day, would hold Jameson until I could eventually get back to him. And that's exactly what it meant.
So you heard that, like audibly heard that?
No, I didn't audibly hear it. I just heard it in my spirit, like a confirmation. Like I was struggling, like I don't want to let him go. But I knew we can't sit there, and I knew he had the faster boat, so I knew he had to run him in. And so it was like the Lord gave me just kind of that peace by saying that to me to let him go. So I did.
Now at this time, JJ, you're having from the notes that I've read, you're also having a spiritual experience at this moment, right? Or is it? I don't know when you were having your spiritual experience.
Yeah.
So on the way back to shore, my mom kept tapping me on the head to make sure that I wouldn't fall asleep and then die. So I told myself, because I was so tired, I gotta do something to keep me awake. And then right after that, I thought was a man on fire, but then it cleared up and it appeared to be Jesus. And he didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. He just gave me the sense of peace, and he gave me the confidence to sing a song called Here I Am to Worship. And I sang that on the way back to shore, and that kept me awake.
You knew that song already?
I did. Yes, sir.
And so tell me about what you look up and you see what you think is a man on fire. Describe what that looked like.
Well, the first thing that comes up to my mind is everywhere I see a picture or on glass stone Jesus, and I'm like, that's not what he looks like. That's not what he looks like.
That's what you say now?
Yeah, that's what I say now. He does not look like anything that you would see on anything. He has longer hair than you would expect, and there's no color in heaven that is on earth. And so the only color that I could explain that was the closest color to him was white, and he was just floating there. And I couldn't really see his face because it was so bright. But in that part on his face was the brightest part, and so I couldn't really see his face, but the rest of it I could see.
I have to tell you, just fill in.
And all this, my Jen, the nurse, and my mom and me we're all bouncing up and down through all this, and my mom had bruises all over her legs for like 2 months after that. So all this is happening.
He was on a beanbag. They had a beanbag on the back of that awesome boat, and so a guy by the name of Kyle Kelly was also on the boat with the grooms. The driver? So no, Todd was driving his boat, and Kyle was back there at your head, and Jennifer and Mama were looking at your leg, and he kept asking for water. He was so thirsty. They were trying to shade him, give him ice packs and stuff. And Jameson says to Kyle can hear him, 70 miles an hour, man, ripping and roaring through the wind. It's loud out there, open water, as you know. And Jameson, when he sees the Lord, he describes as this white, very bright white experience. So he says to Kyle, I'm in pain. He goes, it's okay, man. We're almost there. They're going to give you some pain meds. And then a second later, he goes, it's okay. I see the light. So as he just described, now Kyle's thinking, no, look away from the light. Don't look at the light. So Kyle describes this to me like 4 weeks later. He says, man, I don't even know how to describe this to you, but your son was white. He was white when you handed him to us, losing all his blood. And he goes, as soon as he told me he saw the light, and I said that to him, all of the color returned to his body, like his tanned, olive-colored skin. He goes, I don't have an explanation for that. And I go, we're just boohooing on the phone, he and I. And so we kind of are hearing some of these pieces of our own story, weeks and weeks later, which is why when we wrote the book Rescue at the Reef, my wife and I, we alternate all through every chapter kind of telling our perspectives, because there's a big chunk of time where we're separated, she and I. And anyway, so yeah, that's sort of the layout of the book. But he says, man, I don't have an explanation for this. He's white, his color returns. I said, man, the only thing I can think, when you see God, it changes everything. Because we eventually told Kyle what Jameson just told you about. He saw the Lord. It wasn't a white light like end of the tunnel, here I am going to die. I saw the Lord and I found comfort and peace. And that's when he started singing. His color returns. Mom leans down and says, honey, what are you doing? And she goes, are you singing? And she just started singing with him. It was just like this unbelievable experience. And so we didn't even say this yet, but that boat took our boat 35, 40 minutes. That boat closed in 10 minutes, 9 miles.
Yeah. That's a fast boat. 350s on an Invincible. You found the right boat. Was it a cat or a monohull?
It was a monohull.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fast boat. It's a really fast boat. So good thing you found that one for sure. Yeah. So JJ, I'm curious, have you ever, like, now that you saw Jesus, have you, in any of the time since then, have you had a similar vision?
Before I saw, after.
Yeah, any time since then. He's really spoken to you.
He's spoken to me a couple times after the shark attack, but visually, no. That was the only time I saw the Lord.
Wow. It's incredible. And so I think it was your sister. I was doing as much research as I could before I got on here, but I put it on my story today. I think it's your sister. She said that she took this picture, right? She had a reel on Instagram, and it starts out, her reel says, oh, look at that picture. And she's looking at it on TV, and she goes, oh, I've seen that picture before because I took it. Was that? That
was one of the paramedics on the Samantha Secco on the ambulance.
Okay. And so what was interesting about that, I didn't know if it was your sister or who it was, but it wasn't clear. But she was talking about how calm you were, how calm you were throughout the entire thing, and that you were actually keeping other people calm. Do you have any recollection of that, or like what your mindset was at that time?
So whenever I told my dad, that's okay, Jesus is going to save me, at that time, I really was just trying to comfort him. But then after once I saw the Lord, I didn't say this, but I knew that I was going to survive. So I saw other people getting emotional, and so I knew that I was going to be okay. So I started helping other people. And yeah, I just started helping other people.
It's amazing, man. That's amazing. That's incredible. And is that your personality to?
Yes, sir.
To help other people, like?
Yes, sir.
As his dad, I can attest, Tom, that that's his heart. That's who he is, through and through. And I think the boldness that he now has, he's always had, but he's grown into it in such a beautiful way. Sam is a mother. David Milian, Lieutenant Milian, was on there. He's a father. All these, incredible medics are doing their jobs so efficiently and effectively, and they're all saying, if this kid lives, he's going to ultimately lose his leg.
I wasn't thinking about that at all. I wasn't thinking about an amputation at all. I don't even know what amputation was at first, so I wasn't thinking about that.
So he's in a different zone, man. And they're all doing their job, but thinking about their own kids, right?
Yeah.
And then they're looking at this kid going. So at some level, they must have shown some emotion because of that kind of background thought in their mind about their kids. And this kid starts just sharing things with them. He sees a chain pop out. We're wearing these keys. We can tell you about these in a minute. But one of the lieutenant, David Milian, he leans over. Jameson gives him an IV and then leans over him to give him an IV on the other arm. And his chain popped out. And there was a cross on his chain. JJ sees it. And he says, are you a follower of Jesus? And the guy's like, what's this kid talking about? He's about to, I don't know if he's going to live. He's definitely going to lose his leg. And he's talking about following Jesus. Am I? He realized my chain popped out. And he goes, not only have I never seen a shark attack this bad, but I've never seen someone who handled so much of a devastating, injury with so much peace and calm. He goes, I knew exactly what had happened. This kid is, connected to the Lord. And so, yeah, he has, he's blown us all away. I mean, he ends up comforting people at the hospital right before he goes into the surgery. There's a nurse that says she started to pray with him in English. First time she ever prayed in English. And Jameson said, hey, can I pray for you now? I mean, it was just like, he's about to, go under and lose his leg, go into life-saving surgery. This all almost makes it sound, Tom, like, oh, well, he's going to be okay. Well, no, I mean, I think I'm going to get a call any second as I'm running our boat in. I'm going to get a call any second from my wife saying, honey, he's gone. Because there's no way, from what I've seen, he's going to live. There's no way.
And you have your other 4 children with you?
Yeah. At the time, we just had 3 more. We've since had another one. But so I had the other 3 on the bow of the boat. We kind of closed off the front partition to the bow just to hopefully help them not see.
Nehemiah, right? Did you say 3 or 4?
Well, no. Yeah. The other 3, Noah, Ellie, and Nehemiah. And so, yeah, we're running in. me and the three of those three and I, and calling the family, telling what's going on.
When you're running in, are you going back to Sugarloaf where your car is and everything like that, or are you going to the Dolphin Marina?
Going to Dolphin Marina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, you?
So since I didn't know where it was, what I did was I went to the other boat that the nurse dove in off of. So they're watching their friend and family member go on a stranger's boat, and they're like, what's happening? They've heard somebody's heard and they need help, and so that's why she jumped in. But they don't know really any more details. They've heard shark, but they're like, what? There's never been a shark attack at Low Key Reef. Was it just a, something else?
Nurse
or a barracuda? Nurse shark. Yeah. So
wait, you went to? I thought you went back to Sugarloaf.
First I went to the other boat.
The other boat.
Yep. So you're going in, and so then I say, hey, here's where they are, and she says, yeah, I know right where Dolphin is. So I said, let me follow you. So we're running in together, and as we get there, FWC sending a boat out, because what everybody's heard is I've run over the reef, and my boat is probably about to sink. That's what is going out on 911 from multiple boats calling in. The Invincible gets in and is saying that.
Wait, so you're heading to Dolphin Marina? I thought you went straight back to Sugarloaf.
Eventually, we did. Yeah.
Oh, so you went to Dolphin Marina?
Yes, we went to Dolphin Marina.
When was I on the helicopter?
Well, I'm about to tell that part.
I did not know this. Okay.
You knew this part. You just maybe forgot. So, of course, you weren't with us. So, you've heard us tell this. But anyway, so we get in. I'm waving out down FWC because I know they're looking for me. And as we arrive, one of the firemen says he's on the radio, and his ambulance has actually just run over the bridge, and we see the ambulance. And this is crazy. My T-ball coach from Fort Lauderdale happens to be the chief of that area of the fire chief, and he's taking the lead car, with with the lights on and everything, running them kind of the lead car to the airlift. So I see them going, and I'm going, oh my gosh, there they go. And so then one of the fire guys goes, hey, see that chopper coming down? That's your son's airlift. They're taking him to Miami. And they're all saying something to me like, you got an amazing son. Wow, what a kid. And I'm going, do you have the right people here? Because my son is, if he's not dead, he's about to die. I'm like, what are you talking about? So Lieutenant Dodd Bolger is talking to me going, what an incredible kid. Now they're all, worried. It's not like all hunky dory, but I'm just like blown away, Tom. I'm like, there's no way we're talking about the same people here. So they get them over to the airlift. The airlift.
So where is the airlift compared to Dolphin Marina? Just towards Miami.
Isn't it right up, next to?
Just right up to Big Pine at St. John the Baptist Catholic Church.
Okay, that's where they had to get to.
That's where they landed. The airlift. That's where the ambulance went.
Tell him what David said after once I asked him if he was a.
I did.
Do we already? I'm talking that part.
Yeah, I already told that part. Yeah.
Wasn't that right next to his Catholic church? Was that his church?
No, David lives in Miami. So, but yeah.
Oh, he lives in Miami?
Yeah. He just works down there.
So what are the keys on your you started to reference the keys. What does that symbolize?
You want to tell him a little bit? You want me to do that?
You can tell him that part.
So for the 1 year anniversary, August 13th, 2023, we'll get back to that part of our story here in a second about returning to the reef. But we went back to the reef again for the 1 year anniversary, and we were in the Keys. I said, man, I got to give my family something special. And so obviously the Florida Keys, and this is a key, but this key represents more than just our connection to the Keys, our life-changing, situation in the lower Keys at Luke Key. These keys represent a locked door that can always be unlocked by this key. And so each key has a word on it. And the locked door is the door of fear.
Except for mine.
Yours has the date
of the
on
shark
it.
attack. 8/13/2022.
Yep. And then my wife, I gave the key of love. My daughter, I gave the key of hope. And my other two sons gave the key of faith and with. God is with you. And I just said, listen, I want you guys to remember something. This key, when you put it in the door of fear, whatever your fear is, I want you to be able to name it. And when you put this key into that door, it always unlocks that door. And as you move forward through that door of fear, you will find freedom.
And Nehemiah's 3 at this time.
Well, at this time he was 4, 'cause it was a year later. And so I just
can I ask a question? Why do you not have anything on your key, JJ? There's no word on your key.
He's got the date.
Can I tell him what happened at the beginning? Who you gave this actual one to?
Yeah, do it.
So this key, there was after once he gave us the key, there was a little bit of switching up the key. So my brother Noah was actually gonna get this one, and so I asked him if I could have this one. And so this was
that's right.
Yeah. So this one was gonna be Noah's, but he said I could have this one, and Noah has faith, right?
Yeah, Noah has the key of faith.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I don't really.
I think we gave you the key of faith because the whole idea was he's moved. Everyone's going, how do you face your fear? And the only answer we've ever been able to have is Jameson has been able to face his fear by faith. And so that's why I originally was giving you the key of faith. That's right. Yeah.
And I the reason why I wanted this one is just because I just like looking at the date of the shark attack. Really.
So this is an interesting transition because one of the most interesting things that I read in your story, and one of the things I wanted to talk to you the most about, was that you immediately wanted to face your fear, and you wanted to get back in the water, and you wanted to go back to the exact spot. Now, lots of other people would never go back, and maybe that's the right choice for them. I don't know. But your choice was that you wanted to go back as soon as possible, is what I read. I don't know. But tell me about how were you feeling when you decided, you know what I really need to do? I need to go get back in that water right there at Lou Key.
Face your fear as soon as you can. What I thought was, if I don't face my fear soon, it's going to keep getting harder and harder to even think about facing my fears. So 4 days later after the shark attack, I call my dad. I'm under the sheets. I have my grandpa's phone, which I'll tell you why I'm under the sheets in just a sec. But I call my dad and I tell him I want to return back to the reef. And he says, yeah, we'll go back one day. And I said, no, right after once the doctors clear me. And so after that, my dad gets to the hospital and my whole family's there, and I tell them that I want to return back to the reef, and everyone was in shock. So there was silence for like 2 seconds, and then my mom comes up and says, well, I'll be on the boat with a shotgun. So that's how I told everybody.
So now you have a lot of other people that are associated with this. Like, you lost your leg. You're saying that you want to go back. You're facing your fear, and you know how important it is to do this for yourself. But I would imagine as parents, as siblings, there's other people that are like, no way. I don't like, I mean, it's just an incredibly traumatic thing to see this happen. How did the others deal with the fear?
Yeah.
My siblings?
Yeah. And your mom and your dad and everybody that knows
everybody around us.
I'm actually just remembering this, but after once I told them that I wanted to return back to the reef, my younger siblings, even Nehemiah and some of my younger cousins, but they say, yay, let's go back to the reef. I'm so excited. And so once we got back to the reef, all the younger ones went into the reef, but Noah and Eliana they had a little bit of fear, and my mom was not going to go in the water. My brother Noah was not planning to go in the water. And so my mom said, no, if you want to go into the reef, I'll go with you. And so they both jump in, and my whole family gets into the water. So
we all were blown away when he says this, of course. As I'm, traveling back to the mainland, crossing those bridges with the other kids, I'm looking out at the same water that used to just bring us so much joy and peace, and just love as we would drive down. I'd tell the kids, just listen to our favorite music and talk about the fish we're going to catch, the wonders we're going to see under the water, the pirate stories, just all the fun things you do as a dad with little ones in that environment. And
we're actually about to do that exact same thing tomorrow because we're traveling to Florida.
Yeah. So I just am looking at those same waters going, they brought us so much joy and peace. Will that ever happen again? Just thinking through my mind, what if one day he maybe says this to me? I'm like, it's going to be forever from now, but I just kind of got to be prepared as a dad. So if and when he does, and I don't ever want to push any of that on any of my family, I'm not even sure how I'm ever going to feel. So we get to the mainland. We're there a couple of days. We're going to be in the hospital for 4 surgeries in 3 weeks. But on day 4, I leave to go get it's in the evening. It's probably 9:00. I go to get a toothbrush from a CVS, and my dad rings me, and I've just left. My dad and mom and my wife are at his bedside, and I go, Dad, everything okay? And it's Jameson whispering, hiding under the sheets, as he just said, and he doesn't want mom to hear. He's like, I got to get dad, on the hook for this first, and then he'll be able to convince mom. And so I'm just like, yeah, what's up, bud? Why are we whispering? And he's like, Dad, I want to know if you'll take me back to the reef. Will you put a plan together so we can return? And I'm like, wow, one day, like he said. He said, no, not one day, but as soon as possible. And so as we would kind of think through that, my wife and I would share that with her, we're thinking my goodness, are we negligent parents to even think about this? Is this no, this is part of his healing process. He deep down inside, even as a 10-year-old, just knew he had to do this. And so I'm like, man, I'm so proud of him. I want to do all I can to support this. So we've figured out a way for us to stay in South Florida because we live in Charlotte now. Moved up to Charlotte from Fort Lauderdale. And so I'm like, we got to figure out a way to stay here even after we get out of the hospital so that we can return to the reef. Because if we go back to Charlotte, it's fall and we don't know when we're going to come back. And, this may kind of die out.
That was a fear, going back to Charlotte and not being able to get in the water as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So
I see that.
We found a way to stay down there. Had some dear friends let us stay in their house. And we kept checking with the doctors, every few days, is he, healed enough? It took 10 weeks before his leg ultimately was healed enough for us to get back in. And we went back, and I said, man, we're out here. So we're, 5 or 6 other boats circled us up and just had friends and family. It was going to be a sweet, sweet moment. And I said, listen, man, we're here. And I know this is a pretty big moment, a scary moment. But we've already faced our fear. You don't have to jump in. We can go back. We can stay here for a minute. He goes, no, Dad, I want to jump in. I said, okay, well, just, let me know when you're ready, and we'll go. And so we're sitting there for a little bit, and he, as he described, everything flashed back. He jumps in and, remembers, the attack. And just about two minutes later, he says, it just all came back. All the freedom, man, all the joy, all the things that we love about the Keys. He reclaimed it. And that's our greatest hope with our book, is there's so many hurting people in the world, and all hurting people are desperately searching for help. And the help that we offer in this book is a message of hope and healing. That when you face your fear, we all have sharks in our lives. And when we face our shark by faith, we I pray that we all have a Savior who's mighty enough to save us from the sharks of the world we live in. And by facing his fear, I know that he reclaimed freedom, but it's also a way it's a win for everybody, because they see, if this kid can do it, man, I can do it too.
Wow. So, Luke Key's 9 miles out. It's not every day that, are you in your scout at this time? What boat do you take out there, or you're planning on taking out there?
Oh, when we go back now?
Yeah.
So it's
same boat.
Yeah, same boat.
So same boat.
Scout.
It's a 19-foot boat.
It's a 24-foot.
Okay, so a 24 Scout, basically a bay boat. You're going to go out there. Not every day can you get out there. So when you go back down and you're planning to go back out there, were there any weather days or you just hit the perfect day?
It was a tough time.
Yeah, it was October.
Yes.
It was October. So things were, not the way they often are in the summer. Beautiful days. So it was a tougher weather window to find. And we had a bunch of people who, you saw Zach Spurlock, our friend who actually found the GoPro. That's an unbelievable story.
We'll talk about that in just a second. But on this day, when you end up going out there, is it rough?
It wasn't too rough for the Scout to get out there and all the other boats. But it wasn't as calm, quite as calm as it was on the day of the attack.
Okay, so you finally get back out there. JJ, put us in the moment of like when you're looking at that water. I know you're incredibly brave. You're one of the most brave people I've ever met in my life, and I haven't even met you in person. Your story is amazing.
Thank you.
Still, there's got to you have to be looking at that water after what had happened. And be, I would imagine, somewhat at least concerned. But put us in the moment of when you're thinking about jumping in that water again.
The only fear that I remember was before I jumped into the water, and then when I went into the water, a whole flashback of the shark attack, but never in my life have I felt fear about a shark coming up close to me. And so just swimming was that I'm actually remembering it was actually pretty hard swimming with one leg, and it was actually a bit of a current. So it was fun, but learning how to swim with one leg was interesting and fun at the same time. So I'm just looking down the water, learning how to dive again, and learning that kind of subject is very fun. So I just had that kind of fun. That's all I was thinking of at that time, really.
That's cool. And you said that you had like a rush of everything coming back, the shark attack, but then also your dad said all the positive things of why you love the Keys and why you love being in the water. Tell me what that felt like.
I actually don't remember that happening. I remembered all the fun memories already right after the shark attack, but I just what came back to me was the joy of snorkeling at that same place. That was the only thing that I really couldn't remember, and then all that came back to me. So, but then once it was time to leave, my parents actually had to pull me out of the water because I didn't want to get out.
Nice. And so I love the metaphor of the key and unlocking your fear. And you did that, right? You did that to a major degree that hopefully, I don't know, maybe you never have to unlock a fear quite like that again in your life, but probably you will. Like we all will, right? Mm-hmm. But what do you learn from that and wearing the key around your neck that you can share with others, for things that are unrelated to shark attacks? Like your dad mentioned that everybody's got their sharks, right? It doesn't have to be a real physical shark. It could be fear, negative self-talk. It could be, I don't know, all kinds of different things, traumas that people have had. Have you had an opportunity to, you like to help people. That's in your nature for sure. Have you had an opportunity to talk to some people about your experience that you can share with us?
Yes, sir. I've spoken and encouraged a lot of people through the past 3 years. We're coming up to the shark attack day, but I've just spoken to younger kids, adults, and I've just given a lot of courage to people. And yeah, I've spoken to people about the shark attack. And what was the thing that you said before? It was kind of a question that you related to what I just answered.
I said that we all have sharks. Everybody's got sharks. They don't have to be physical sharks. They could be all kinds of different things. That your story could help people to kind of understand that they can, like, you're on the extreme side. You lost your leg. They're just having a voice in their head that's saying that they can't do something, or they had some trauma that's gone and it's over with. And I was just wondering, like, what your message is to those people. Like, do you relate it to the shark attack, or do you just say you just have to face your fears?
Question's kind of hard to answer.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and you usually answer that with you want people to find, as you face your fear, you want them to face their fear, face your fear, and find freedom, and gain so much hope from our story, right? So just talk about that a little bit, because you've talked to children, like there'll be a parent at dinner, we'll be at a restaurant, kids are looking at his prosthetic and maybe even pointing to the parents like, stop, and he'll notice it and he'll say, it's okay, can they come look at my leg? And so he just embraces every moment, whether he's speaking to a group of 15,000 plus people on the beach in San Diego where we just were, or whether it's, some kids at a restaurant or a church or wherever. He's just looking to always point people to hope. Look, I did it. You can do it. Whatever your shark is, face your fear and find freedom.
That's super cool. You were in San Diego surfing out there?
Yes, sir, I was.
What do you think about the cold water and compared to the Florida warm water surfing?
We were in wetsuits in July.
It's cold.
It was cold.
Well, so never in my life that I have wanted to come back to shore from being out in the ocean surfing. And this one time in my life, the day before the surfing event, I was practicing surfing and the water was so cold. I was not wearing a wetsuit.
It just wasn't. Oh no, you took it off.
I took it off.
That's right, because it was too thick. Yeah.
What? Yeah. So
that's right.
I came back in not wanting to surf anymore, and I realized I was actually about to cry at that point. I wanted to come out of the water from surfing. I have never done that before.
We always got to pull him out of the water. He was shivering, and I think you were talking about almost crying because you were like, "Oh my gosh, did I just pull myself out of the water? I've never done this."
But the next day, I wore a wetsuit and I did a surfing competition. I got second place in the surf comp, and then unexpected switch. So this was all a Switchfoot event. Switchfoot.
That's a band, Tom, and I'm not sure if you know who that is.
Yeah,
band.
I know who they are. Yeah.
And so they dedicated the song "Stars" to me, and he brought me up on stage. I did not know that he would do this. And then he said, "I'm going to put you on the spot, Jameson." And then we just started singing the song "Stars," and it was absolutely amazing. And so it was amazing. I'm a singer in my school band, and I actually just won my school talent show from singing. Right. And so I'm not, yes, sir. And so I'm not afraid to sing at all.
What song did you win with?
You and your,
okay. So I was working with a country buddy, and I'm not really a country boy. So we kind of had to, agree on which song to do. So we played a song from the movie Twisters, 8-11 Oklahoma. I don't know if you know that one, but
I remember that.
Okay.
And so when you were out there, there was somebody that was with you that had also lost a leg.
Mike Coots.
Okay.
Sorry, were you gonna say something?
Well, just tell me about him. I don't know his story.
So he got attacked by a shark while surfing, and
you say that so nonchalantly.
Well, I'm about to tell you why. And then after that, he now protects sharks. He was not into sharks at all. Now he protects sharks, and he takes these crazy photos of sharks. I actually have the front cover of Mike Coots made a book with full of photos, and I actually have his front cover on the photo on my prosthetic.
Well, that I was going to ask. Like why you chose a great white, because and so there's a connection there, right? So
yes, sir. Not just because of that, but because I just love sharks and I love surprising. I bet Mike Coots has the same idea, but I just like surprising people with. I love sharks, even though I got attacked by a shark. But this is his book, and I almost feel like he has some sort of. I'm just gonna say it's like some sort of death wish, because after he gets attacked by a shark, he goes into dark, deep waters.
Not always dark, but some of these photos.
This one, it's the craziest, scariest shark photo I've ever seen. So he goes into deep, dark waters without a cage. 17-foot great white come at him super fast and opens his jaw and looks like he's about to attack him, and he's still living today. He takes this photo.
Whoa. That looks dark.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. And so I guess, you say, I think I saw it even in something that you had written in the book or on the notes, that you have a better chance of getting struck by lightning 5 times than being attacked by a shark twice.
So right? Crazy.
Or maybe even once. I don't know.
Yeah.
So once. So what would the odds of being attacked twice be? But I got to say, Mike is kind of increasing the odds.
I would agree. I would agree. He's an incredible guy. He's become a great friend. But yeah, you might wonder why does he have a great white? He was attacked by a bull shark. So this is the jaws from.
Mike Coots was attacked by a bull shark? I thought it was
No. You were attacked by a bull shark. So why would you have a great white? Is what a lot of people wonder. So these are the jaws of an 8-foot bull shark given to us from none other than Mark the Shark.
Oh, Mark the Shark.
I know you know Mark, right?
Yeah. He's a friend, and he's. I was going to say, if you need some more, I know there's a whole warehouse full of them.
I think I know what you're about to say.
Mark's become just a kind, person to bring us in and talk to us so much about sharks. He sent us a picture of a 9-foot bull shark that they had caught just weeks after he was attacked. There's no way to know, as you know, there's no fences in the ocean. Mm-hmm. He caught this shark up in Miami, so probably not the shark, but we don't know. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, these as we look at these jaws and we look at his 10-year-old leg, it's just, and we just met a guy named Paul the Gelder who lost his hand and leg above the knee to a 10-foot bull shark. And I mean, these guys are just intense predators. I mean, they're apex predators. How in the world can you? I mean, if they want you, they're gonna get you, but they don't want us. 99.9999 times out of 100. But when it does happen, and you want to go back, like he is, and like Mike is, and we've met Bethany Hamilton. Mm-hmm. It's really remarkable, Tom. And at such a young age, of course, he was younger than even Bethany when she was attacked. But yeah, it's just every day.
So with Mike and Bethany, and there was a baseball player, was that, or
Parker
was
Bird.
he a baseball player on your Instagram?
Parker Bird, yes, sir.
Parker Bird. And so I don't think he was attacked by a shark, though. I think he
was ripped up by a.
But you're meeting these people who have either been attacked by a shark and lost a limb, or have lost a limb other ways. What kind of what do you guys talk about?
Let me mention this. If we did not meet Parker Bird, we would have never been introduced to a company, organization named CAF, Challenge Athletes Foundation. Every year, all of the amputees around the country and maybe out of the country comes to this one place and just has this awesome time with these sports and running clinics, all this stuff. And I never met someone that got attacked by a shark at all. But I've met so many people that have lost their limbs to many other stuff.
You've met Mike and Bethany.
No, but at that event.
Yeah, you're the only shark attack
that's what I'm saying. I've seen a lot of other people that have lost their limbs to other stuff besides a shark attack.
And it was so encouraging for him to know.
They all understood what I was going through.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, when you go to an event like that for the first time and you see lots of other people that have lost limbs, what do you talk about? Like, what is that like to be in that situation for the first time?
It's a great question. I watched you have so much hope.
It was so much
and
fun,
encouragement.
but then, like I said, there was some emotional times where, like, I was feeling what they were feeling, and they knew what I was going through, you and
Parker took off your leg because you're both right leg below the knee amputees, and you both compared scars and told stories about the different surgeries that you've had, and how you wear your leg and run as a baseball player, because he's a baseball player, and what are some of the different techniques he's working on as he's learning to swing the bat again. And these are all really cool conversations I've heard you have.
The most related person I've ever met out of all the amputees I've met, Parker Bird's probably the most related to me, even though he didn't get attacked by a shark. He got ripped up by a boat motor, but his leg was amputated right below the knee, exactly like mine. Even though my Coots was on the right leg below the knee, but it's like all the way down here. Mm-hmm. So it's not like up here. So, and Parker Bird and I, we could move our toe muscles. So like we can move the big toe, the pinky toe. So he could do that, and no one else could do that. And we could just relate all of the scars, and it was just a great connection. Amazing time.
So when you're talking to Parker, like you've got obviously an incredibly supportive dad, mom, family, but you can't talk to him about these things. Like, what was it like to like be with Parker? Like, did you have anything that you really wanted to ask him? Like, what do you do when this happens? Or like, I don't know. I think that obviously he made a big impact on you. And you were you call him very relatable, but did you meet anybody else that really made a big impact on you, or Parker was the main one?
It's been incredible to hear from so many. I mean, Bethany,
Parker Bird and Mike Coots are probably the main ones.
Mm-hmm.
But hearing from Bethany within like 2 days, she sent you a video. That was incredible. Like, and we had been watching Soul Surfer for 4 days before the shark attack.
We've been watching it our whole lives, but we watched it 4 days before the shark attack.
Did she have any advice on getting back in the water? She's one that did, in her story, it's the same kind of thing. Like, she wanted to get right back in there.
She did, yeah.
Did she give me any advice about getting back in the water?
Like when you met her out of Hawaii?
Not really. You didn't need it. You didn't need it. You knew in your heart that you needed to get back in the water. You didn't need anybody telling you that.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So have you guys ever run across somebody named Jordan Thomas?
The name rings a bell, but I don't know that we have.
I'm going to try to hook you up after this. I know Jordan, and he was in a boating accident not far from where you were, and lost both his legs, and he's a golfer. And he continues to play golf, and he's really a great guy. But anyway, awesome. We'll see if we can hook you up with him. And so, legacy
above the knee.
I think below the knee. I think.
Wow.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll have to check. I'm gonna introduce you to him. So let's look forward here. What are you planning on doing now? Like are you gonna have this as a part of your mission? Are you gonna go on with your life and do other things and just I don't know what's forward?
Well, right now in my child ages, I'm loving to surf, play baseball, and then risky rock climbing, and so that's what really I'm doing now. But I feel like I've been called to full-time ministry when I grow up, and maybe some sort of surfer, something like that.
The minister surfer.
Yes, sir. Minister surfer.
There's been crazier things out there. That sounds good. As far as rock climbing goes, it seems like you could get a prosthetic that could actually maybe even possibly be an advantage. Like I would think that could be possible, right? Like you get into like tiny little spots. And where do you like to rock climb in North Carolina, or do you do indoor rock climbing?
So I practice in my neighborhood, like just climbing trees, and then whenever I get the chance, I go to cliffhangers in North Carolina, and that's where I rock climb.
Indoor, that's an indoor facility. Yeah.
But my high score, without anything connected to me climbing a tree, my high score is probably 85 feet.
85 feet. Did your mom or dad see you up in that tree at 85 feet?
Well, it was getting dark, and they were wondering where I was, so my dad came out.
He was at his uncle's farm.
No, not that one. It was Cece and Saba's property at that time.
Yeah.
The Douglas is that one.
So he was just climbing rocks in Central Park last week when we were there for the book release.
Nothing compared to what I've been doing.
I know that was small, but they wanted to get you climbing. That was for the Inside Edition piece. But I mean, he climbs everything, man, and first, first year, it was just all like, hey, how are we going to walk again? Are we going to play ball again? Is he going to be able to do, teenage, young boy stuff, climb thing? So we're just so glad he's been able to do all that.
And rock climbing is the one sport that I thought of that I love, absolutely love. That's the one sport that I can do without using my legs. So whenever I have surgeries, I can still rock climb, and I can use my arms instead of my legs. So that's
let me ask you this: you've been to California, you've been all over Florida, you probably surfed some other places. You're just in New York.
Hawaii.
Where would be the best place for you to go to college that you could rock climb and surf? Have you already thought about that?
Hey, with all these indoor or local,
that's right,
surf parks.
Oh, yeah, the indoor surf parks.
Yeah,
that's nothing compared to the ocean. That's
I know, man. It isn't, but it's pretty epic.
It is very cool. I gotta admit that, but when I grow up, I don't think I want to rock climb. I think I just want to be somewhere that I can surf and then reach a lot of lost people, but somewhere in the upper Florida. I don't know if you know where this is, but Fernandina Beach.
Oh yeah, it's a nice place.
I think that would be a really cool surfing spot. And I haven't looked up any college places there, but hopefully there'll be one. But I haven't thought of that yet.
Okay,
I think that's where I want to live.
Surfing's super important. Rock climbing, you love it, but you could do it indoors.
We got to talk a little fishing, because this is the fishing man right here.
That's right. And so what about the fishing? Do you like fish?
I love to fish. Actually, with Tim
Carlisle.
Is that him? Yeah.
Legend.
Captain Timmy.
The first day we went out to go tarpon fishing, and I forget what how many feet that I was supposed to catch of the certain tarpon, but I caught way over.
He fought.
I was supposed to.
It was probably like an 80 pound tarpon.
And I was supposed, and the fishing pole is not meant for that kind of thing. Like he said,
you just he kept saying, don't point the rod tip down, keep that thing up.
Yeah, but
because it was over 20 minutes, and he was running all around that boat, climbing up on the platform with his prosthetic leg, and Timmy was like, my goodness, look at this boy go.
Yeah, but remember he said that these the bait in the fishing pole was meant to catch a lot smaller.
So he had smaller pound tests.
Yeah.
And so he was just surprised that I lost it, unfortunately, fighting it for 20 minutes. And so that's what happened. So I just
is tarpon your favorite? Or if you've been fishing with Timmy Carlisle, you probably had a little bit of experience with bonefish, and that's what he is maybe the best at, as far as I'm concerned. But
yellowtail or sharks. Those are my two favorite.
We didn't get a bonefish, but we've told Tim a few different times, Tim, if there's any way, because I think that was in August, I think, when we were with him, and he just was like, man, that particular August, he's like, they just hadn't been biting or whatever. So he wanted to target the tarpon. And so since he fought a tarpon and lost it, my Jameson's next older brother, or brother below him, Noah, was with us. And so since we didn't land that one, he took us out the next day and said, I can't let you guys get skunked. So I at least was able to land one. We got a nice, but it was so kind of rough and kind of muddy that day in the backcountry. So we weren't able to target bonefish, but my goodness, Tom, I know you do and have, and man, we'd love to hook up on some on a little saltwater slam, a tarpon,
that'd be
a bone and a
awesome.
permit,
and
man.
You like catching sharks too?
Yes, sir. So I actually just thought of the 3 top fish that I love to catch. So barracudas, sharks, and what's that? I haven't been fishing in a while. What's that pink fish?
The parrotfish? The colorful?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think a parrotfish.
Well, they're different. I mean, kind of more. Like
it was a like this small pink fish. I forget.
Could be. I don't know.
Something like that. I don't know.
Oh, you're talking about a hogfish.
Is that pink?
About hogfish. That's our favorite.
That one is pretty good on to eat.
Is that dinner. Pink?
Little pinkish, yeah.
Now the way that you can catch hogfish that you'll really like is you go snorkeling, and they call it hog dogging, and you have a Cuban reel in your hand, and so you see the fish down there, and you just
the yo-yo
peel out the line, and then you watch them eat it and bring it in. So it's underwater fishing. It's really cool.
And just that.
Yeah, well, there are places that you can't spearfish for them, but you can do that for them.
Don't spearfish.
So if you're really going after just hogfish, that's all you really want to catch. It's a very effective way because you're seeing you see something, another kind of fish come over there. You're like, no, I don't want to catch you. I'm gonna wait for the hogfish, and you can catch them like that, and you can do it in places that you wouldn't be able to spearfish for them. It's illegal to spearfish for them, so you can hog dog them. But that's kind of a fun thing. It incorporates, snorkeling and
getting in the water.
Yeah.
Love the hog dog. And we were talking about doing it for the shark attack. One of our trips to the Keys, and something happened. We couldn't do it. But also, just to be clear, not only we love fishing, but we were not fishing at all the day of the shark attack. Of course.
Yeah, it says something in this notes here about somebody accused you of chumming.
Yeah. One of the one of the 2 main dive shops that take tourist boats out, three times a day to Lou. Mm-hmm. Of course, word starts spreading. It's a shark attack, and so they started saying, they were chumming. They had their kid in a bait ball, and of course that's going to happen. But don't worry, never been a shark attack. So they were trying to save, business.
It's not good for business.
Not good for business. But man, there couldn't be anything further from the truth. Of course, FWC checked the boat, and we had no fishing paraphernalia on the boat at all. And of course, we knew it's a marine sanctuary. You can't do that out there. So no, nothing further from the truth. We weren't doing any kind of fishing. We weren't even throwing, bread or chips in the water. We were very conscious of how that stirs up the fish. And
I wonder if have you ever thought that that turtle could have had anything to do with it?
Thank you. Yes. Okay. I'm pretty sure that one of the biggest reasons that I got attacked by the shark was because he attacked me to get me away from his food, because sharks have bad vision. So he thought that I was some kind of fish that was going to eat his food. So he attacked me so he could go for the turtle. And once I started following this turtle, like my dad said, they get spooked off. So I could never get close to one. But once I followed this turtle, it didn't just get spooked off, but it swam faster than I've ever seen any turtle swim. So I'm like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
So the shark, I'm pretty sure the shark attacked me and then went for the turtle. I'm pretty sure that's why.
Well, I mean, it really makes sense. And as soon as you started saying that story, that's what I kind of thought. I even wrote down right when we started. Do you think the turtle had anything to do with it? There's pheromones in the water and stuff like that, and sharks are incredible. Would imagine that it could sense that there was a turtle there just recently, right? Maybe it mistakes you for the turtle. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Maybe it ran you off because it thought you were going to eat its food, like you say. Mm-hmm. I think we don't know what goes on in the mind of a shark, but it's pretty much lunch. Like, I'm going to eat or I'm going to move on. I think that's what I think. But it could have been that. Now, there's one more little part to this story, which is very interesting, in that you had a GoPro, and that's how I saw this turtle. I saw the video of what you shot, and you can see when the shark gets you, there's like a little piece of the shark that's visible. But before that, you're following this turtle, and then I guess tell me what happened to the GoPro.
So he's following and getting this awesome footage, and 9-foot bull shark, 400 probably plus pounds, hits him with force. He's able to hold it, as he says, bites 2 different times.
Can I say that real quick?
Yeah.
So it bites once. The pain started to get to me. I'm like, what the heck is that? And then once it bit lower and it started shaking, that's when I let go of the GoPro. And that's when it jerked my head back. And that's when I saw the shark. I jerked my head back into place. And that's when I started screaming, still shaking me. And so all that is happening. The GoPro is spinning towards the bottom, and it sees the angle fin and the tail of the shark. And then you see a shark tooth fall out of the shark's mouth, because every time it bites or attacks something, they always lose a shark tooth or multiple. And so while that's going down, you see all that, and you see the blood, and then that's it.
You didn't see all that on the piece that you saw. There's so much of that footage that we didn't release, because it's just so personal.
Right.
The screaming on the footage is just so intense. And he described a lot of the things that you do see, that you saw some of them, Tom, on the footage that's out there. But to see the camera as the turtle hits him, and as the shark hits him with so much ferocity, it comes from a good bit away. But as he does his 360, he pops up on that GoPro footage, starts talking to the camera. Wow, did you see that? Bye turtle. He's had this amazing time.
I saw that part.
Right, saw that part.
The turtle.
And then he goes back down under the water and he does a 360. And it took us a while after we recovered. I'll tell you quickly how we recovered here in a second. But you see about 18 frames of a shadowy figure with a cross shaped shadow on the ocean floor. And then 18 frames of that. And then eventually you start actually seeing the pec fins pointing down.
Oh, boy.
Tack mode. And just like kind of the head. And then, man, she's on him. So she hits him bites twice, head shakes. And with all that force, coming from, the edge of visibility, basically, over 50 feet away, and then closes that gap, hits him with so much force, he drops the GoPro. And it's a miracle he stayed on his pool noodle and, was able to kind of, at some level, hit the shark with his other leg and just by naturally kicking. And so she lets go. There's a burst of blood and bubbles. You see, I think 3 frames of the tail and the anal fin, and then the tooth. And so it's at the bottom of the ocean. We're not worried about it. And we're just getting him out of the water. And bottom line, man, 2 days later, I'm going after he's surviving, yet we're in the hospital thinking, how in the world could I get that back? I know it's going to be like finding a needle in a haystack. It's at the bottom of, the ocean floor. And that's when a mutual friend said, our friend said, we have a mutual friend, Zach Spurlock, who's there right now at Luke Key. Let's send him the coordinates. And so it's just amazing that he was able to find it after hours and hours of just kind of drag and drifting all through that area. And man, he talks even as a very seasoned waterman, big time spear fisherman. He talks about how spooky it was because the sharks were all still churned up days later. Really? He said all these black tips were following him. He didn't see a bull that day. But there are reports of an 8 to 10 foot bull shark from locals for the first 2 days after the attack. Zach probably went about 3 or 4 days after. And they're just, the water was just so activated for some reason after that. So he was like, man, I was so spooked, I almost had to just get out and quit, abandon, this mission. But he eventually found it and had another dive friend looking. He couldn't find it over the course of, I think, 2 different dives. So it's just like finding a needle in a haystack. The fact that he found it and the footage was preserved. It's just an amazing part of the story.
Wow. And so what did that mean to you, JJ, when you understood that somebody had found this and returned it to you? Did you want to see it right away?
So once they told me the news, I freaked out in a good way. I'm like, you did? Can you show me? Can you show me? And then once they told me that the person that listened and watched the GoPro footage,
your uncle,
he couldn't even finish listening to the audio. He had to put headphones on, my uncle. And so I'm like, oh, I don't want to see it then. But I'm so glad that we have that. But then I think a year later I wanted to watch it, so I watched it, but I've never listened to the audio until just a month ago.
What made you want to listen to it a month ago?
I actually didn't have I didn't have a choice.
No, you did. We asked you. We said, well, hey, bud, we're about to release this. When the book came out, we wanted to just kind of share that piece of the story. We had, kept it very intimate and said, at some point we think we will release it, but we didn't know when or how, and needed the right, people who could help us, tell the story, and it ended up being ABC, Good Morning America. And I said, look, we're gonna be sharing this. We want you to hear it before it's out there, in case this is a shock to you while we're doing an interview or something like that. And you're ready to hear it. And so he said, yeah, I need to. I'm finally ready. And so that was a tough moment for all of us.
And tell him we were in the living room and we were with this movie director, and he wanted to listen to the GoPro footage, and none of my siblings were there. It was just me and my parents, and so we listened to it, and that was the first time I listened to it.
We were getting some advice from a friend who had come to visit us, and we wanted him to hear it and see it, and we said, Bud, we're going to show it to Mr. Bob, and we really want to know if you're ready to see it. And of course, we haven't even let him see, Tom, the actual photos of his leg.
I want to. It's my leg.
It's his leg. Yeah. Mama's been pretty strong about a lot of that stuff. And it's pretty delicate and tender. And, we've all, of course, been to trauma counseling and did that as a family. And your sister still has a hard time. Even when we bring up the story, she kind of goes, "Hey, Dad, can I go to another room while we tell the story?" And so,
but the only thing that might be the thing that's probably keeping me back from looking at the photo of my leg after the shark attack is probably because after when anyone I've met that has gone attacked by a shark, they have shown me their photo and then they look at mine and they're like, "Oh yeah, yours is a lot worse than mine." There's someone that got attacked on the arm and the leg. They showed me, and he even said that yours looks a lot worse. And so that might be.
Yeah, he got attacked that guy got attacked by a 10-foot bull shark.
Same thing.
And his leg, had most of the meat on it. Jameson was like just cleaned, Tom. It's just, when you start looking at some of these.
Kind of like ground beef, that the photos.
The other guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how Mom and I kind of set up. Every time they say it looks a lot worse, I just don't want to. I don't want to look at it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You're doing pretty good. I would think that you just keep going on the track you're on, because you've really handled this incredibly well. You've got a tremendous amount of positivity. You're helping people with your story. I don't know, like you'll be ready to look at it one day, and you'll know when that is. And until then, don't force it. That would be my advice to you. But
yes, sir.
You're
thank you.
You're just a remarkable young man to have dealt with this the way that you have.
Thank you.
Now, some of these people that helped you, Zach being one of them, you guys have become friends with and stayed in touch with.
Definitely, man. They've become, this kind of thing of bonding through just such a impossible and crazy situation. It brings people together. And from Zach, who found the GoPro, to all of our doctors and nurses, to the guys and gals on the ambulance, the family who owned the faster boat, the nurse who came from that boat, and all the FWC guys. And it's become like just this huge family. And when we go back to the Keys, we invite them all to return to the Reef with us, and just it's a big reunion. It's a sweet, sweet time.
That's really cool. And so you're sitting in your living room talking to a movie director. Did I hear that right?
That's correct. Yeah, we've talked to a few
project coming up.
It's kind of preliminary, but that's people have started kind of coming to us with that idea, and we're starting to kind of go, now that the book's out. That's a big hurdle. We of course wrote Rescue at the Reef, the miraculous true story of a little boy with big faith. Not so little anymore. He's a young man, but there it is right there. And we
with notes from the conversation. But where do you get it? It's out now, and where
anywhere where books are sold.
Did you ever think you'd say that? You can get it.
No,
man. Books are sold.
Never intended to write a book, especially even after all this. But it's amazing. RescueAtTheReef.com. But anywhere books are sold as well. And we tell so much more in the book, Tom, than we've shared here. But it's a unique thing to think about a movie, a book, any of that stuff. We just got back from New York doing kind of a media blitz up there, and there's just so much interest and excitement around this story. And for us, it's just about how can we get the story out there? Because when people tell you, I don't want to cut you off.
I don't want to cut you off, because I feel like you're going to answer this question. The final question that I want to ask JJ. If that happens with this book, with a movie, whatever happens, what is the message that you want the world to hear?
That's a little something different with a movie. So people have asked me, what do you want people to find out of the book? And what do I want people to find out if we make a movie? I don't really know the answer to that question.
Tell about the book.
Well, I want people to find hope and healing and the encouragement to face all of their fears out of the book. But with a movie, I don't know the answer to that yet. I mean, this same answer with the book.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
But
so just tell them that.
Well, I just said it. Yeah. Hope and healing and the encouragement to face all their fears with whenever we speak, with a book, movie, whenever we, with everything, really.
Yeah, that's the message, right?
Face your fears.
Yeah, face your fear, find freedom, and be encouraged to have hope.
I love it.
Through what you hear and learn from us.
Well, I'll tell you what, you could have a bunch of Hollywood people that could write a movie or a book, and it wouldn't be anywhere nearly as inspiring as the real story. And you're really a remarkable family, and I hope that you get the opportunity to tell as many people your story as possible.
Thank you.
We can do that here because it's really amazing, and I hope that I can run into you in the Keys one of these days.
Yes,
go fishing, man.
Maybe we'll go shark fishing.
You mentioned this.
Do it.
Towards the I think the beginning of when we started, but you said that you went you do spear fishing, right? Is that when you shoot the gun?
Well, I'm not much of a spear fisherman, but I have a lot of friends that are spear fishermen.
Okay.
Big-time spear fishermen.
Well, usually, I was going to say, usually people that spearfish or even fish, sharks have been trained to now, whenever they hear a motor from...
You're talking to the boss. He knows all this.
Right, well, I'm interested in what you have to say, though.
Yeah.
When they hear the motor?
Whenever they hear the boat motor, they go up towards it because people are hand feeding sharks now, and so they're like, oh, free food. And same with a spear fishing. Whenever you shoot the spear, the shark, if there's sharks around, they hear it, and then they come up and they try to get the free food. And then there's a human in the water also. Mm-hmm. And so I was just gonna say, there's this thing called shark bans where it keeps the sharks away if they're snooping around. But if it was coming in as fast as it was to me, I don't think it would have stopped it. But
that's
shark bans, you should look it up.
That hangs off of your ankle. Is that what?
No, this one isn't the cord. It just is actually like almost a bracelet. You can wear it on your wrist or your ankles, and it kind of sends out like a little bit of like a pulse. Uh-huh. So within like a 4-foot radius of you. So if a shark was kind of rushing in like his did, it probably wouldn't sense that pulse until after it had attacked. And but usually sharks are kind of cruising around when you see a lot of these videos of people kind of going out to dive, and they're interested, but they'll feel that pulse and kind of.
I've seen a lot of our underwater cameraman. He wears an older model. I think it's the same thing, but it was the first model or another device like that. I don't know if it's got the same name, but you would wear it on your ankle. It had a battery pack in it, and then it had about a 6-foot kind of leash that would hang off of your. Interesting. And it would emit an electrical pulse, and it actually could actually shock you just a little bit. Like if it got up between your legs or something, you'd see them kind of jump a little bit and I guess if a shark bumped into it, it would shock them a little bit, but it also was putting off an electrical impulse, and it definitely worked. You could see it work. Like you'd see sharks just coming in, just curious, looking at him, and then they would just move off. Like they would get close, and it was like a force field.
Is it kind of annoying to have on your ankle?
Yeah, I think he thought it was annoying to have it on his ankle, especially when it came up between his legs and started shocking him. I don't think he liked that very much, but I think he liked the effects of it sending the sharks, at least giving him the illusion that it was applying a force field out there of sorts. But the closest that he ever came to having something really, really serious happen wasn't from a shark. It was from a swordfish that attacked him. And that was a straight up attack. You can see the video on our Instagram. The swordfish is out like this, and the diver's here, and the swordfish turns, and if he hadn't had the camera in front of him like this,
wow,
it would have gone straight through him, because it went into this hard plastic of the camera about 12 inches and then broke off the bill. Swordfish are mean, man.
So it went through his leg?
No, the camera.
No, it went through the camera. He had, like, what we had at that time, we were using a scooter, which is kind of like an underwater scooter. You know what those are? They got like fans on them, and they pull you along. Yeah. And so he could use that, like if there was current and we were catching a fish, he could get down and he could kind of keep up with the fish, because a lot of times there's a lot more current than you think. And the cameraman's swimming as hard as he possibly can to get this shot of the fish. And so we started using this scooter, and he could get he could keep the shot much more still and stay on the fish longer, without running out of oxygen and getting tired. So he had that scooter in front, and it's made out of hard plastic. And this, I'll send you the video after if you send me your text number. But this swordfish turns and goes and hits this thing, and he kept it in front of him, and it went in and broke off.
Wow.
But it would have gone straight through.
Wow.
But yeah, there's a lot of dangerous things out there. I think the swordfish, from what I've seen, is that was the one that I haven't seen. Just like, I don't know. I mean, I'm talking to somebody.
Such a wild, man. That's a wild one.
But they're mean fish.
Or was he really far out in sort of a deep?
Well, where were you guys?
Oh yeah, we're really far out. It's 3,000 feet of water probably. But
was that in the Keys?
That one was in. That was in Louisiana.
Okay.
Or it could have been in the Keys. I don't know. It was either in Louisiana or the Keys. Those are the two places where we caught swordfish on the show. And for some reason, I thought it was in Louisiana, but yeah, I think it might have been. But anyway, I'll send you the video and you can take a look at it.
Yeah, I'll send you my number.
So this has been one of my favorite podcasts I've ever done. You guys have a really incredible story, and I hope to meet you in person someday. If anyone is looking for this book, buy it anywhere that books are sold. It's called Rescue at the Reef. It's by Jameson and Mary Catherine Reeder, about young Jameson, JJ. And I just want to thank you guys for coming on here and telling your story. It's really, really more inspirational than I thought. I knew it was going to be heavy, and I knew it was going to be good, but it surpassed my expectations.
Man, we're
glad to be here. Can I say one more thing before we end? So once we got out of the hospital, I was in the wheelchair, and my dad and my grandpa was gonna pick me up and put me in the car, but I actually said, I think I can do this. So I pushed the wheelchair away, and I hopped and I grabbed the handle, and my leg is still bandaged up and it still hurt. So I grabbed onto the handle, I pulled myself up, and I sat back and I sat on the chair, and I said, I'm back.